U.S. Marines headed off a hard communist charge. Overhead, Marine corsairs tore up the enemy line, destroying vehicles and supply lines. The U.S. Army battalion was being ripped apart. North Korean tanks rushed down from the hills and launched a concentrated attack from point-blank range. The Americans lost all of their equipment, suffered 160 casualties, and were quickly overrun. The Americans struck back hard. For 2 weeks, the battle raged on. The same hills were won and lost dozens of times. Punch-drunk infantrymen fought with everything they had. Air attacks rained down on the communists.
The American airstrikes hit the North Koreans on either side of the river. The North Koreans were screaming. We heard them, and we were a mile or more away. Floyd Atkins, B Company.
Let me ask you something. What do you know about the Korean War? Happened from 1950 to 1953. 40,000 Americans died, 100,000 wounded. And we're still losing 400 veterans from that war on a daily basis. Because I wanted to get a little serious for a bit before we go into what's in this one mail package today. Many of us have veterans in our family. My grandfather, who would have been 101 years old this year, was a World War II veteran. He hasn't been with us for about 10 years now. There's still plenty of Korean vets still alive. According to my research, there could be a few million left. So, why do I bring this all up? I think it's important to definitely remember the past. Our grandparents, our great-grandparents, and some of you served in these wars. We know a lot about World War II, what happened in Europe, what happened in Japan, in Russia. But the Korean War is sort of the forgotten war. That's been mentioned before. I didn't come up with that term. And this gentleman within this package here was a Korean War veteran. We lost him on October 8th, 2020, at the age of 91. And I'm going to honor the gentleman for the rest of this video, but what I wanted to stress is that I, before buying this card, had no idea that he was a Korean War veteran. According to my research, there were over 400 players in the major leagues of some kind, whether they be general managers, players, that served in the Korean War. Some of those that stuck out to me were Tito Francona, Terry Francona's father, Billy Martin, the great Yankee, as well as manager, and then there was George Steinbrenner, who I had no idea served as well. And the one that was most surprising to me, Willie Mays, the second biggest rookie card from the 1951 Bowman set that I have yet to land. In this package, again, a Korean War veteran, the third biggest rookie card of the 1951 Bowman set. Let's celebrate the man's life, the fact that he was a Korean War veteran. We are just a few short weeks away from Veterans Day. Thank a veteran, even for those forgotten wars so many years ago. Now, let's get into the card. So, I've been sitting on this card for a few weeks now. Picked it up right after his death, probably about 20 minutes after I heard it. Still sealed. I have yet to see this in person myself. Paid a little under $250 for it. Basically, I didn't want the cards to spike really quickly after a player's death. We all know that occurs, and this card is probably up 20-30%, if not more, since that happened about 2 weeks ago. So let's get into this. I'm going to show some clips of the player in the background as we read a little bit about his career and life. And wrap in a piece of paper. This is the way a $250 card should be wrapped up. All right, let's reveal it. I'm not going to hold this here the entire time, but I do want to get it a little closer here. Whitey Ford in a poor one. You can see why. The centering is wonderful here. It's got that piece of tape up there on the top that's likely pulled it down big time. Taking a look at the back here. It's got the usual slight wax stain. Registration is good. Centering, very good. I didn't really care about that tape on the top. And this card I've been eyeing for quite some time. Had never pulled the trigger on one. Watched them climb in value over the many years that I've been doing this set now. And when we lost them, I just had to go and grab one before they jumped in price, and I didn't want them to get out of the unaffordable range. High grades of the Whitey Ford here are going for 5 figures. I saw an 8 out there that was way out of my budget. I wanted to see that line there. It looks like it might be, I think it's just part of the background. I don't know why it would be going across his neck there, so maybe not. But it looks like it was here on this part of the hand-drawn background, but then it, for whatever reason, kind of wiped off over his neck. One more thing I wanted to mention before we go into a little brief history of his career. It struck me, this is a 1951 Bowman, and the fact that he is a Korean War veteran. Korean War, 1950 and 1953, and he had his rookie card in 1951. So I had to research as to why, like, how did he have a rookie card and then head right off to war? So we're about to get into that, along with many other facts about Edward Whitey Ford. So Whitey Ford was born October 21st, 1928. He would have been 92 just a few short days ago. He's nicknamed the chairman of the board. He was a 10-time All-Star, a 6-time World Series champion. Eat your heart out, Tom Brady. In 1961, he won both the Cy Young Award and World Series Most Valuable Player Award. He was also Rookie of the Year in 1951. He was the league leader in earned run average twice and in wins 3 times throughout his career. He had 236 career wins, 45 shutouts, both Yankee records to this day. He's also tied, this is a random fact, with Andy Pettitte for 438 games started by a pitcher. Ford was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1974. So Ford made his Major League debut in 1950. He then took a 2-year sojourn to serve in the United States Army in the Korean War. He returned to the Yankees in 1953 and pitched for them all 16 seasons of his career until retiring in 1967. I wasn't able to find much about Whitey's early life other than talk about being dedicated to New York. He grew up in Manhattan, went to a Manhattan high school, and then was ultimately signed by the Yankees right after that. Early on in his career, Casey Stengel, the manager of the Yankees, actually held him back just a bit, and he wasn't getting, 30-plus starts a year. He was held back for more formidable opponents such as the Cleveland Indians and Chicago White Sox. And then when Ralph Houck became the manager in 1961, he promised Whitey that he would pitch every 4th day, so regardless of the opponent, he finally exceeded 30 starts. Only once in his 9 seasons under Stengel, but in that first year under Houck, he had 39 starts in 1961, and his first 20-win season on top of it. For those baseball historians out there, that 1961 season was very special because it was basically overshadowed by the home run chase between Roger Maris and Mickey Mantle. But he did win the Cy Young Award that year, and again, had his first 20-win season. Whitey ended his career in declining health. In August 1966, he underwent surgery to correct a circulatory problem in his throwing shoulder. And then in May 1967, Ford lasted just 1 inning in what would be his final start. He announced his retirement at the age of 38. After retiring, there is some controversy surrounding his career because he admitted to doctoring baseballs. He would have a mud ball where the catcher would kind of fall over in the catcher's area and pretend like he got some, his hand fell on the ground, would put some mud on the ball. He also dug his wedding ring into the ball until the umpires finally caught on to that. His career certainly wasn't without a little bit of controversy, but I don't think he could have done that for all those 236 wins and gotten away with it. Last thing I want to say about Whitey Ford's stats, and this is a reason that a lot of modern guys focus on Clayton Kershaw and Jacob deGrom, because Ford's 2.75 earned run average is the third lowest among starting pitchers after the live ball era of 1920. Only Kershaw and DeGrom have a lower ERA in that time frame over the past basically 100 years now. Ford's worst ERA in a single season was just 3.24. And oh yeah, I have to mention some World Series stats too. He has 10 World Series victories under his belt, more than any other pitcher. He leads all starters in World Series losses as well, with 8 and starts of 22, as well as innings, hits, walks, and strikeouts. In 1961, he broke Babe Ruth's World Series record of 29 2/3 consecutive scoreless innings. That record still effectively stands, although Mariano Rivera did technically break it in the postseason with 33 consecutive innings of scoreless relief. Well, I hope I was able to teach you something about the career of Ed Whitey Ford. Yankees legend. Some journalists, up until at least 2 weeks ago, called him the greatest living Yankee. I'd love to know in the comments below who you think that torch will be passed to. But again, I can't stress enough, Veterans Day is right around the corner. Thank your veterans. If you see them, if you know them, if they're still in your family, from whether it be the Afghanistan war they just got back a few months ago to the Korean War, we still have many of these veterans around, but we're losing them by the day. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you at the next video. Bowman 1951 out.